Hello, I'm Tony, and today we are taking a look at Super Adventure Hand, a puzzle platformer free from Amazon Games until I think the end of November 2023. They're not telling us. I don't know why. The game is the standard story of a sentient hand that has been removed from its arm by a bunch of feet and is on a quest to reunite. Yeah, you know, we've all played this one before, but let's see if this one does anything different to stand out from the rest of the limb reuniting stories. Well, the graphics do their part, making the hand look pretty creepy actually, scuttling around like a weird 5-legged spider. The footage I'm playing is on medium settings. High settings did work on my PC, which is bad, so it should work on most, but it didn't work alright when I was doing the screen recording at the same time. The hand itself is nicely animated, well, horribly, considering how unnerving it is. But the rest of the objects and things in the game are not quite as detailed. They're a bit more cartoon-like. It's not really a criticism, the game looks fine. Everything you can interact with is pretty clear what it is, and the game runs well. There is a spy thriller style soundtrack playing throughout, which I did turn down because the sound cues are actually quite helpful here. It is good to know if there's flamethrowers or electrified platforms around, and those sound effects do a good job of keeping you aware of the rest of your environment. Gameplay actually is quite standard puzzle platforming, with a focus on the platforming rather than the puzzles. You do need good keyboard or controller skills and good timing, far more than you need puzzle smarts, which is just as well because obviously you're just a hand without a brain. The majority of the times that I died and had to restart at the admittedly very generous checkpoints were due to bad timing. It wasn't an issue solving the puzzles. There are a lot of platforming mechanics squeezed into the 50 levels, from having to run on barrels to the aforementioned electrified platforms. You've even got a toy car you can control, which actually was quite a lot of fun. Your job is simply to get to the magic cup at the end of each level that transports you to the next one, preferably as quickly as possible, though that isn't essential. Along the way there are thimbles to collect, 1 or 2 per level, that are usually a little bit out of the way. There are 3 thumbs up to collect, and I think I'm seeing a theme here, for getting better and better times. I don't generally care about these sort of collectible things, though each of the levels are small enough and the restarts are quick enough that I did bother to collect them. There aren't too many, and they rewarded me with achievements and cosmetics. I tricked my hand out to be full on goth, which made it seem less weird, somehow. Progress is made by collecting keys, which can be reached by a combination of platforming and pretty simple puzzles, like flipping switches to move platforms around to reach a few remote areas in turn, or chucking bombs at ice to allow you to climb the structure underneath. Honestly, none of the puzzles stopped me for more than, a few seconds, and I completed every level in less than 3 hours, including the very out of place final boss fight close to the end. I don't know why this is here. It's the first and only fight that you actually get into, and it just doesn't fit into the rest of the game as far as I'm concerned. It's also a bit frustrating, but damage to the boss isn't reset when you die, so you can get through it if you want to just get through it and not worry about the time, which is exactly what I did. It took me a little while to get used to the control of the hand and the physics engine in the game. The hand has a tendency to grab onto objects you don't want it to, and interactions with moving objects can throw you off in very unexpected directions until you get the hang of it, or until you learn not to do that actually. That's why you've got a flick in the game where you can flick objects off of the path. Generally, if you want a good time, you ignore that, but it makes things a bit easier. Adding on to that, there's things like rescuing tiny little hands, which is actually a story element right at the end. It's a weird one. I think rescuing these hands is optional. I never tried not to because, you know, rescue the little hands, obviously. You'd be a monster not to. Even though the game only took 3 hours to play through the whole thing. There is a bit more life in it than that, because it's a challenge to try to get the 3 thumbs up on each level. I spent another hour after finishing the game getting every thumbs up for the first 12 or so levels, because the times are quite tight. You do have to have an idea of what you need to do first. And it was an enjoyable experience doing that. I played beyond needing to for the review, which is not something I can say for every game. Overall, this is a well put together, enjoyable platformer with enough puzzle elements to just keep your mind engaged as well as your reflexes. Platform fans should give this one a try, as well as giving yourself a bit of time to get used to the game engine. I enjoyed playing this, and it's free, so you can't really go wrong, can you, at this point? Okay, I'm off, no doubt to have strange nightmares about disembodied hands running around my house. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.